What's up everybody, welcome back to Lex Alexis. Today I'm going to be predicting the first week of the Premier League 23-24 season. I cannot believe it is 2 days time for when the season opens with Burnley and Manchester City. Honestly, I'm so excited to see how this season is going to unfold. Announcements for this league are as follows. So, changes from last year to now, we are not doing a prediction league for this league. It's a shame, but I think based on the very limited time I have these days, I don't think I can balance both a championship and a Premier League prediction league. Doing one is hard enough as it is. So unfortunately there'll be no prediction league for the Premier League this year. But a little surprise at the end is that not only are you going to see me predict the first 10 games of the Premier League, you're going to see my new fantasy team, a sneak peek of what I'm going to go with week one with. And I'll give you guys the opportunity to join my league. So that's right, Fantasy League is back. And what I will do is that I will make sure that prizes will be awarded for the winner of the Fantasy League, as I've been unable to do so within the past. But we were definitely going to award the winner of the Premier League Fantasy Football right at the end of this season. So I think that's everything that I need to announce. If you guys enjoy this, please give the video a like. My Premier League videos especially have not been performing as well, or not even close to the levels my Championship videos are. So if you guys want to see Premier League content on this channel, please make sure you smash that like button. It tells you that you want to see that type of content again. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so either. That also really helps grow this channel as we're trying to push to 2,000 subscribers. And please also share the video too. All these things really do help. But without any further ado, let's start predicting this weekend's games. Let's start off with Burnley and Manchester City. I alluded to that this was going to be the opening game this weekend. And it is quite daunting for Burnley to face Manchester City first, the reigning champions. And it has happened in the past couple of seasons where the reigning champions would play against the winners of the newly promoted team, or the champions, let's say, of the Championship the season prior to this. So it's not too unusual this, but Vincent Kompany would definitely want to take Burnley like a duck to water in the Premier League, and will want to start very strongly, because I think they've not only got ambitions to survive, but ambitions to be a comfortable and stable Premier League club. So Burnley would definitely want to have a good start to this. I think if Burnley don't get a result against Manchester City, I don't think it's the end of the world. I do think they've got some nicer games coming up. I do think this will be a good challenge, however, and it will be very interesting to see how Turf Moor are going to be up for this season. Is Turf Moor going to be a bit of a fortress as it was within, especially Burnley's peak years within the Premier League? Manchester City are coming to the season probably a little bit lighter on depth than they have done in previous seasons, so maybe other teams in the league can exploit Manchester City a little bit more easily. But having said that, I do think Manchester City are levels ahead with the majority of the teams of this league, and I think even if Manchester City are light on numbers, I think they'll have the quality to brush Burnley aside. I don't think it's going to be too comfortable of a victory for Manchester City, but I think they'll get the job done. Not as easy as they did when they played against them last year in the FA Cup. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory to Manchester City. I see this being just a tiny bit, not straightforward in a way, but I do think if Manchester City score first, then I think Burnley are going to struggle to get back into this. So I'm going to say 2-0 City. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Big season this for Arsenal. They've made some big signings this year, and they definitely would want to try and close the gap on Manchester City and go toe-to-toe to them like they did from last season. I think that's going to be an added challenge with the fact they've got Champions League football. They're facing a Nottingham Forest team where they'll probably still be feeling the buzz of them still being a Premier League club. Although Forest have got a really tough start to the season, so I do think with Forest, there's a little bit more pressure on them to try and get something within the first couple of games, because I mentioned this in my Premier League table predictions. If Forest don't pick up a single point in their really tough periods, they could easily find themselves in the bottom three and within a matter of points from the safety around September, October time. So Nottingham Forest need to find a win some way, somehow. But I do think against Arsenal at the Emirates, where I think it was only Brighton that beat Arsenal at the Emirates in the Premier League last year, I think it's going to be very tough for Nottingham Forest, I'm going to be honest. And I think Arsenal will feel fired up for this. They want to start the season well. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Arsenal. I think Nottingham Forest will get something out of it, but I do think Arsenal, with their firepower up front, I think they'll take it. So I'm going to go for 3-1 Arsenal. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now we've got the 3 o'clock games to predict. Let's predict Bournemouth and West Ham first. Very interesting developments from both clubs going into this game. So Bournemouth have made their business a little bit early on. Areola, this is going to be his first Premier League game as a manager here. And if he'd want to face any team, West Ham wouldn't be the worst pick that I would have picked from that. However, West Ham look like that they're starting to get their act together and are actually starting to invest in their squad. It sounds like they've accepted a bid from Harry Maguire. There could be an announcement later today or in the next couple of days that they could get some signings in. So a little bit last minute FC, but they are getting some deals done now, which is encouraging on that part as well. James Ward-Prowse looks like he's very close to be signing to West Ham as well. And I think both Maguire and Ward-Prowse would actually be very positive signings for West Ham there. This game I think is pretty difficult. I think Bournemouth had the upper hand of West Ham last year. And with this game, it's a little bit difficult. I don't know what to really expect from Bournemouth. And West Ham being a bit touch and go with their pre-season. So overall, with me being left undecided, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to play a little bit safe and go for both teams to cancel each other out. So I'll go for 1-1. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Brighton and Luton Town. So Luton Town's debut within the Premier League is away to Brighton at the Amex Stadium. I can't even tell you like how many fans of Luton are going to go to the Amex. You know, I think there will actually really be a big following for Luton Town throughout the season. There'll be full support with them throughout the whole of this season. And very recently, actually today, it was just announced that they signed Ross Barkley. I don't know if he's going to be constantly in the starting 11, but he will be very crucial for Luton for Premier League experience. Brighton go into this season a little bit similar to the other teams who've really performed the season after, with a slightly lighter squad because a lot of their players have moved on. But Brighton still have a good core of their players. Welbeck still up front. João Pedro, I think, will work with Danny Welbeck this season. And I honestly think if Brighton's still churning most of that squad from last year, I do think Luton are going to find it very difficult. I think Luton will make it frustrating for Brighton, but I think Brighton will get one too many opportunities against Luton, and they'll manage to get one goal, and I think at the end of it, it's going to end in a rather comfortable 2-0 victory to Brighton. I think it could even take us far to the 70th minute before Brighton break the deadlock. But if we're going to get a load of these games now with teams trying to kick the ball out of play and getting these long added times, I think with those teams, they're going to suffer a lot more this season. And I could see Luton really being badly affected by that. And Brighton, I think, will eventually benefit with having more of a ball in play. So I'm going to go 2-0 Brighton. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Everton versus Fulham. This is also a scenario in which I'm a little bit undecided on how each team's going to perform. Everton have looked to steadily improve in their pre-season, but they have got a little bit of a lighter squad with the outgoings they have, especially in their back line. And they are carrying a couple of injuries with their key players as well. Fulham, I'm going to be very interested to see if Mitrovic is going to feature, obviously with his episode in this transfer window being turned down, basically a transfer from Fulham to join the Saudi League. So is his commitment still going to be there? But major test is going to be his attitude for this game. And if the attitude is still good within this game, then I have every hope that Fulham will be able to still perform to the same level that they did from last season. I still think there could be a couple of teething problems from both sides. So I do think both these sides will naturally improve as the season goes on. But as a prediction here, something screams a 1-0 Sean Dyche shithouse win. But at the same time, I think both teams will actually draw a blank. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. I don't typically predict a 0-0 draw, but I think these two teams are going to be just shy of their potential. And I think that could show from their attacking sense as well. And, you know, in their recent games, they've not really churned too many goals either. So I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Another game which I think will have very little goals is the next game, Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace. Sheffield United are going into the season with, I don't even know what sort of squad they're going to have. Supposedly they're supposed to still have Sander Berge, but he has been linked with a couple of Premier League clubs and a couple of their back line being linked away as well. So as long as Sheffield United don't lose any more outgoings going into this game, I do think they can have a small chance. Now, Crystal Palace, they're pretty much right where they were. They are carrying a couple of injuries within their squad, Elise being one of them. So I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be featured within this game. I think this will be quite interesting, and I actually infamously remember Sheffield United picking up their first home win in the Premier League when they were promoted in 1920 was against Crystal Palace. So could history repeat itself here? For me, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a very boring, but a very, very narrow 1-0 win to Crystal Palace. I see Crystal Palace maybe having a set-piece opportunity and Sheffield United is switching off at the wrong time. And I think that might be the difference. I think Sheffield United are going to learn a really big lesson about very minor things making the hugest of differences. So I'm going to go for 1-0 Crystal Palace. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We're now making it to the later games. So let's go to Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Both of these teams, I think, will be absolutely brilliant this season. I'll be very surprised if any of them fall within the lower mid-table region. Newcastle going into this season, I think, with a slightly better squad. But what they had previously, they haven't really lost anyone major. Aston Villa are coming in with major investments with Pau Torres and, of course, Diaby coming in as well. So I do think Aston Villa are a little bit better off than what they were from last season as well. They've added to their squad. I do think with Unai Emery, with another full season, he can still continue to get the best out of his squad. The only thing that's going to let him down is any key players getting injured. This game for me, I think it's really close. I think Newcastle still would offer quite a fair bit. I think Aston Villa are going to offer a lot going forward as well. It's a really tough one, this. I was thinking 2-2, but I'm actually going to change my mind last minute. And I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I still think they'll draw a blank, and I think it's going to end as a draw. I can't really have the balls to edge one of them for 3 points at the moment, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now we've got Brentford versus Spurs. I think this is the early game on the Sunday, so this is going to be very interesting. London derby, of course. Brentford are going to be definitely playing a different style of football from what they were last year, without the reliance of Ivan Toney for most of that season. Spurs are coming into this season definitely looking very messy at the back, and Postecoglou's teams are not really renowned for keeping a really sturdy defence. So we could see a bit of a goal fest here, and Brentford have had the better of Spurs in the previous season. So I am very tempted to give Brentford a win here. It would be very Spursy to not start the season so well against a team they seemingly should get 3 points with. That's a prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Brentford. I think I've got to throw a kind of a shock out there. And I think Brentford could start the season like they did last year and pick up 3 points. So I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next, which is I think is the big game this weekend, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Oh, this is really nerve-wracking for me to predict. It's really feeling real now that the season is coming really close now. Chelsea definitely have added, but obviously have lost a lot of their squad as well, which is to be expected with the way that they didn't perform at all. It's almost an entirely different team that we're going to see this year, and I'm going to be very interested to see how quickly they play effectively with Pochettino. I'll be very interested to see how Pochettino lines Chelsea up, if it's going to be a little bit more defence-minded or whether it's going to be more coming at Liverpool, because I think Liverpool this year definitely a little bit light in the midfield part, but what we could see Alexander-Arnold actually play a little bit more of a role in the midfield. I think it would be a bit silly if Klopp didn't utilise Alexander-Arnold's strengths, as a midfielder at times, to potentially cover for some of the gaps that they may have in that area. So I do think Liverpool still have many options to offer for Chelsea, and definitely with the attacking options that they got, but I think they do trust Chelsea's at this moment of time. As a prediction, I hate to be pessimistic, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Liverpool. I think it's going to take Chelsea a little bit of time for them to get into their flow. And I think Liverpool will be able to pick up where they left off, where they ended the season very, very well within their form. So I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Final game to predict is Manchester United versus Wolves. So, lots of movement going out in Wolves in the past 24 hours. So I said in my table predictions that Lopetegui, if he goes, I think it will be curtains for Wolves. And what happens within a couple of hours after my video comes out, Lopetegui does leave Wolves. But fair play to them, they did get a replacement very, very quickly. Gary O'Neill. And Gary O'Neill was another manager I mentioned in my table predictions video, but I predicted him to potentially rejoin Bournemouth if Areola didn't work with Bournemouth. So it's crazy in a way how I was talking about these scenarios, and they literally kind of happened in some way or another within 6 hours of that video going out. Crazy. But I do think with O'Neill coming in, I think it's a little bit unfair on him. I think he's really not got a lot of time at all to really get the best out of this Wolves squad. Manchester United, this is going to be interesting. Can they improve on pre-season? Because I think there are some glaring issues with this Manchester United team within their pre-season games. If they can put that behind themselves and perform really, really well here against a Wolves team that are probably going to be disorganised, then I think Manchester United will be able to put that behind them and kick on with this season. So as a prediction, I'm going to go 3-0. I think Manchester United may have some fun within this game, but watch Wolves completely, shit out of a 1-0 win. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm going to go 3-0 Manchester United. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, these are all my predictions for the Premier League. Make sure you comment your predictions as well. They won't go to the Prediction League, but I'm just curious. I want to see what your predictions are within the Premier League. So the last thing I'm going to do now is that I'm going to show you my fantasy Premier League team and a way for you guys to join my league. So as you can see here, this is my league. I've gone for a very safe option, Burnt Neto in goal. I've gone for a 0-0 draw, so clean sheet bonus we could get from here. As a back line, I think we've got really good options. Ben Mee, Thiago Silva, Rafael Varane, Kyle Walker. For a midfield, you've got Eberechi Eze. In fact, I've actually put my team name out of Eze, actually. Very talented player. Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Guimaraes, and Marcus Rashford there. Because I think if Manchester United are going to beat Wolves by quite a bit, I think Rashford will be on the score sheet. Then you've got Haaland, of course, and Ollie Watkins as the other striker. And in terms of the other options you've got on the bench, you've got Nick Pope here, Estupinan, who could be a good defensive option to pop in as well. Jadon Anthony could be crucial as well. And then Vissa, who I think will have a really important season. I was going to go for Mbeumo, but I think Vissa is the best option I've got. Mbeumo's looking like he's carrying an injury at this moment in time. So that's why I got Vissa on the bench and not Mbeumo. So now, how to join the league. So I'll show you how to join the league. So you may know that we did have the Let's Leicester Football Prediction League 2022. However, if I do make it a renewal, I mean, not for what I'm aware of, but you cannot change the name of the league. So that is why right here, Let's Leicester Football League, that is the new league that we are going to be playing together. So anyone that's in the other league, make sure you join this league other than this one. Alright. So to invite people to join this league, I'll show you the code to join. And the code is right here, 6N08YA. So I'll put that link in the description just so that you guys can see it. But I could also do the auto join link and put that in the description as well in case you guys want to go to the website directly. So that is how to join my league, and this is my team as well. So guys, make sure you get your team sorted because deadline is very, very close right now. So make sure you guys don't miss out on those crucial points. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I think a little bit of a short, brief video, but I'm glad in a way. It saves these videos lasting 30 to 40 minutes long. If you guys enjoyed it, please smash the like button. It really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button as well. Please make sure you do like and subscribe if you're excited for the Premier League season starting as well. And please share the video too. All these things really do help. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. If it's on the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.